Just a week removed from a 17-16 Boston win over Atlanta, the two teams will do battle again today, but they'll also be battling the scorching heat. The Boston Cannons host the Atlanta Blaze in Major League Lacrosse action. Welcome inside Veterans Memorial Stadium in Quincy, Massachusetts, along with Malcolm Chase. I'm Ryan Johnston. Malcolm, the temperature's up over 90 degrees today. It's a humid day. How do the players cope with the heat today more than anything else?
Yeah, Ryan, it's a scorch out here. We're SPF 60 because you're going to need it. So the players, the secret today is like short shifts, keep the guys moving on and off the field, and, staying fresh out there. That's the most important thing. But ultimately, they're competitors. They're going to go as hard as they can and see who can last the longest here on this hot day.
It's mind over matter, essentially, today, right?
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about hot. Let's talk about one of the hottest players in the league, and that would be Mark Cockerton of the Boston Cannons. He is tied for the league lead in goals.
Yeah, Mark Cockerton is such a special player. He's one of those tough guys in the league to get your hands on because he's not the biggest player in stature, but he plays big. He's got a big outside shot, a lot of speed on this. You see this step down. That's a lot of heat for any goalie in this league. You got some world-class goaltenders he's beating with those kinds of shots. Plus, he really understands that two-man game.
See, the coach of the Atlanta Blaze, Liam Banks, he's in his second season on the bench for the Blaze, and he's opposed today by Sean Quirk for the Boston Cannons. Quirk in his fourth season looking for his first playoff appearance, and the Cannons off to a 5-2 start, looking pretty good in that regard. In goal today for the Atlanta Blaze, it will be Chris Madelon, making his 9th consecutive start this year, a 4-4 record. You see that goals against average, 14 saves on 31 shots a week ago against Boston. And Nick Morocco, he only made 3 saves last week, but that was enough, along with a little bit of help from his backup, Tate Boyce, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on today. As we get ready for the opening faceoff, the Cannons are missing their all-star faceoff man, Kevin Reisman. And so for the second week in a row, Nate Farrell will do the duties for Boston. He's opposed by the rookie out of Towson, Alex Woodall, who's been terrific. The first overall pick in this year's draft in Major League Lacrosse. And he wins the opening draw. As it's brought along the near side, TJ Camizio. He'll set up along the sideline and flip it over for Brian Cole, another one of those all-stars who will be taking part in that game, which is a week from tonight. Randy Stotts bounces one out to Joe Reed. Reed being shadowed. He'll take it to the far side of the field. Still 30 to shoot. Palasek couldn't find anywhere to go with it. Sent it across the field. Shane Jackson. This Blaze attack is a lot of weapons. They can score from all different angles. Stotts being forced away from the net by Edwards. A wide-angle shot gets away and goes all the way to the far sideline with 6 to shoot here.
Ryan is just noticing that Boston's put a short stick on Tommy Palasek, who can often draw a pull, and but he is covered by Goodrich, of course, one of the best defensive midfielders in the world.
So a shot clock violation on their first possession here for Atlanta, and Boston gets its first possession. Edwards going to carry it all the way forward. Turns back and looks to see who's with him. He'll give off for Kyle Jackson. Floats it back to Zed Williams and to Jackson again. Matched up against Camizio here. Jackson for Williams. Slipped a bit, able to regain his footing, lost the ball, and it's scooped up by Liam Burns. Burns, the long stick, will outlet it for Camizio. And Atlanta looking to run here in transition. Up top for Storos. Back over for Camizio. Shane Jackson gave it up and got it right back. Now it's Christian Mazzone. He's up against the rookie Matt Jama. Mazzone fights his way out toward the front. Jama kept him away from the net. Comizio to Mazzone again. This time gets off the shot and caught the pipe. And one beat Morocco but caught the iron. Boston will head the other way.
Well, Ryan, that's about as close as it gets without actually going in there.
Shot by Cockerton goes wide, and that one will go out, but Boston maintains possession. So we get a look at that last shot by Mazzone.
I think that thing's moving there, Ryan. Atlanta getting some good looks out of that invert offense, attacking with their short six from behind.
And our first goal of the day, Will Sands snipes that one home, and Boston grabs the early 1-0 lead.
Not a bad job by the Cannons on the other end here, Ryan.
Seventh of the year for Will Sands.
Another slippery player, a guy you just don't want to lead with his hands free. Too much separation right there. You got to step out and get on his hands here. He does a great job at recognizing and shifting quickly to his left. Textbook to overhand shot for you young players out there. A lot of guys like to shoot that nifty sidearm shot, but that's the best place to shoot that overhand shot. The goalie's not going to pick that up from that range.
Will Sands, the second-year player out of Bucknell. And so 1-0 Boston early. Atlanta will get set up here. Matt Witcher deals it off. He'll head back, replaced by Brian Cole, who has the ball right now. Tommy Palasek over for Joe Reed. Reed starts to crank it up a bit. Right for Jackson. Jackson being stick checked by Leary. Palasek again. 16 to shoot. Behind for Sunday. 7 points against Boston a week ago in the Atlanta loss, as that shot by Reed ends up going out. 6 to shoot again, and Atlanta needs to hurry. Palasek going to carry it right to the side of the crease. Gave it up, and the shot by Sunday just as the horn sounded. So Boston takes possession.
I'm going to credit Goodrich for doing an excellent job on Palasek. Typically a really tough guy to cover with a short stick.
See that save by Morocco. And now a turnover for Boston.
When you take number 84 off of the field, essentially, Atlanta's missing a lot. And that may be part of the game plan here to kind of shut him down with Goodrich and see what Atlanta can do with the other 5.
Ball on the stick of Brian Cole. And now Stotts behind the net. One of 8 All-Stars for the Blaze. Ball knocked free by Hooper. Still on the ground. Now scooped up by James Leary. And Leary stood up on the hit by Dylan Marr, but Boston keeps it coming forward. Ricci fires one over to Sands. In tight, a chance, and they score. Connor O'Hara, unchecked, walks right in, and it's 2-0 Boston. Just over 5 minutes in, Boston hasn't had much in the way of possessions, but they've taken advantage of them. 2-0. They lead early going, just over 5 minutes gone in this one. Major League Lacrosse is brought to you by Powerade. Powerade. Power Through by Coca-Cola. Enjoy every goal, face-off, and check of today's game with a deliciously refreshing ice-cold Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. By Maverick. By New Balance. And by Warrior. Will Sands and Connor O'Hara with the goals early for Boston to grab a 2-0 lead. And we get restarted here on the face-off. Atlanta will control or not. Woodall overran it. Scooped up by Zed Williams. Boston will get possession.
Awesome pressure by Rees there to keep the ball on the ground and keep mucking it until his line mates could get involved.
Atlanta dominated the faceoff totals last week. Again, Reisman, the all-star faceoff man for Boston, has been out for the last few games, and so that gives the Blaze even more of an opportunity in that regard. Jackson pivots back toward that far side. Gives over for Upgren, and a rising shot knocked aside by Madelon. Be controlled by Atlanta as Burns found it in the pile but lost it, and in the scrum, we're going to get a push. Boston gets possession.
I love the ride by Boston there, just getting after it in front of the cage. That's usually a defender putting the hurt on in front of the crease there.
Well, we've been talking about how hot it is today. Like the hard work is what really suffers on a day like this, I would imagine. Like going that extra mile for the ground balls and whatnot.
Well, that's a great point, Ryan. Does that physicality continue into the latter part of this game?
Zed Williams floated one to the far side. O'Hara was able to knock it down and then gain possession. Sands works behind the net. 25 to go on the shot clock. Upgren going to bring it around and scores. Once again, able to get a clear lane to the net. Boston, as they did last week against Atlanta, jumps out to a big lead early.
Nifty finish by Upgren here, just being capitalistic on it. Turning the corner, he's actually faking before he's above goal line extended to get the goalie to jump. Madelon's got to instinctively match stick, but it's just too close. Great job tucking around Madelon there.
Sixth goal of the year for John Upgren, the rookie out of Tufts. Scored in last weekend's win over the Blaze as well. He's come alive offensively here in the last few weeks. As Woodall with an errant pass, chased down by Noesnik. See if Atlanta can get a decent possession here. They've been held away from the net for the most part in the early going here by Boston defense. Tommy Palasek.
Well, they're moving back to this invert here, Ryan, attacking the short stick from behind.
Against Edwards. Palasek pivots toward the goal line. Tried to get it to Mazzone, tipped up into the air and taken by Edwards as Boston comes in transition. Edwards floated it for Sands.
I didn't look like that look inside. You mentioned they hadn't had the ball in a while. Little impatient there, trying to create something that wasn't there for him.
A flag just came out away from the ball here. 35 to shoot as Sands sets up from the corner. Lobs it out to Nate Solomon, the rookie out of Syracuse, playing in just his second professional game today. Solomon cuts back toward that far side. Shot clock down to 15. Cal Dearth. Dearth pivots, fires the left-handed shot high, and that will get the penalty call. It's going to be an offside call. So Brendan Sunday goes off, and first man up of the day goes to Boston.
The Atlanta penalty is on number 24, Brendan Sunday. 30 seconds for offside.
So 6:19 to go. Boston, who opened on a 5-0 run against Atlanta last week. Earlier this year against Dallas, they had a 9-0 run to open a game. This has become commonplace. Pour it on early and try and hang on for the win.
By and large, they've done a good job this season protecting those leads.
Zed Williams over to Jackson, quickly to Cockerton. He scores. And Mark Cockerton seizes the league lead with his first goal of the day. It's 6:01 left in the first, and Boston with a man-up goal to make it 4-0.
Well, Ryan, we talked about in the Open, Cochran can get it done in so many different ways. I love this shot selection going 5-hole here. You'd see Madelon not quite sure where he's going to go. It's so late to that position. You know, Cochran's dropped his stick so many times and gone top shelf. I love the 5-hole shot. Great execution, proven why he's an all-star.
Cochran in his second year since coming over in a trade from Ohio, his 7th year in the league, has nearly matched his goal total of a year ago already.
Well, that's really impressive because you have a decent year. A lot of times you have a target on your back, and teams are quicker to slide to you. And despite that, he's having great offensive production.
Zach Goodrich comes out of the battle with possession for the Cannons. Gave it off for Solomon as Boston was getting their changes on here. Had to be careful, making sure everybody was where they needed to be as Dearth will carry in. Skips one across. O'Hara spinning with it, lost it as he got a bump from David Manning. This will be Manning getting it from his goaltender, but then turned it over, and here's a 2-on-0 and a save by Madelon. O'Hara diving in there to take that shot, and Madelon came up big.
That was spectacular.
Upgren sent it to Sands. Fresh shot clock here for Boston. Sands in front, and Dearth thought about shooting it before he caught it. Forced into a turnover. David Manning comes away, and Comizio will carry ahead. Comizio nearly lost it himself. Picked it back up off the bounce. Sent it across, and the long stick, Storos shoots and scores. That one crossed up Morocco a bit, and Atlanta gets on the board and cuts it to a 4-1 game here in Boston. It wasn't pretty, but the Blaze will take it to end the 4-0 run by the Cannons. 4:37 to go in the first, and that's our score, 4-1. Boston with a 4-1 lead here over Atlanta as the Blaze get the goal by Leo Storos, the long stick midfielder out of Colgate, to cut into the deficit here in the first. Face-off violation, Atlanta given possession. Colton Jackson, rookie out of Denver. Sent it over to Shane Jackson, and now back of the net for Stotts. Stotts working against Pugel, now double-teamed. Flips one over the shoulder, but wide of the short side. They'll maintain possession.
You can see the strength of Stotts there, backing his man and running through a double team. They're quick to go to him here on the Cannons end.
And a nice move by Christian Mazzone to get out in front and gets the shot past Morocco, and Atlanta is back within 2.
Ryan, I love this heads-up play by Mazzone here. Just going quickly, right at his man, splitting Goodrich up. Goodrich got caught looking there, flat-footed. But Mazzone, excellent job. I think Goodrich is going to be ready for that the next time.
12th of the year for Mazzone. First year in Major League Lacrosse out of Rutgers. So Atlanta has scored back-to-back goals to cut the lead in half. Last Saturday when these two teams played, it was a game of runs. Boston early, then built a big lead going through the third and into the fourth quarter, and then Atlanta closed on a huge run to get it back within 1, only to fall short. Jackson sets things up for the Cannons. Now Zed Williams will get it from Challen Rogers. This is Kyle Jackson. Carrying along the top of the arc. Over to O'Hara. Matched up against Witcher. Sands at the back. Got a screen there. Able to carry it all the way back up top. 13 to shoot. Sands with a left-hand shot, and Madelon made the save, then dropped the ball as it bounced right in front of the goal line, but he's able to pick that up. No harm done.
Atlanta has not been super clean off of the saves and in transition so far this game. The Cannons have capitalized a couple of times. They really got to clean that up.
Jackson gave it for Palasek. 2:45 left here in the first. Brought behind by Palasek. In his 8th season out of Syracuse, Palasek backing things off, goes up top for Brian Cole. All-star midfielder, gave it back for Palasek. Gets away from Jama, lobs one over the outstretched Leary. Now Stotts, 4 to shoot. Stotts won't get one off. Jama and Ricci just didn't give him anything, and we get a little scrum after the turnover. And they're going to give Atlanta back the ball.
Wow,
push.
Ryan. That's surprising. Cannon's defender was standing here in the box ready to move the ball up the field.
Well, you heard,
The
you
guys
could
were
hear
pushing
the
background.
protest down on the field. The Cannons were saying the shot clock had expired, but they count the push, and Boston gets the turnover anyway. As Leary picked one off. Goodrich fumbled it, got it back. Goodrich will bring it behind the net and set up from there. So we tick toward 90 seconds left in this first quarter. Goodrich, bounce shot, scores.
Wow.
That's a tough one to defend.
Oh, yeah.
That coming at that angle. And Boston back in front by 3.
Oh, this is just Goodrich just flexing his athleticism at both ends of the field here. Getting one back for his team. Excellent bounce shot. Possible for Madeline to catch up to that from that range. I mean, those high overhand bouncers. It's just too close for the human being to react from that distance, Ryan.
Zach Goodrich, the 3rd overall pick in this year's draft, a rookie out of Towson, with his 3rd goal of the season. He was 2-time All-American in his college days, Division I's top midfielder this year. The Stotts forced behind the net, and a tough angle shot by Shane Jackson goes all the way to the sideline, but still maintained by the Blaze. Brendan Sunday. He sent one toward that far side, but an errant pass. That'll go all the way out. Still, Atlanta maintains possession.
That's a great butt dig right there by Hooper. Throwing that underneath his back elbow.
Mazzone has one of those 2 goals for Atlanta so far. Stick by Edwards, knocked that ball free. Stotts able to regain. Marr sent it over toward that far side. Cole fires, and quick release by Stotts, but couldn't get it on goal. Instead, it goes all the way to the sideline.
Edwards does a nice job by hedging up from goal line extended to send that wide.
Final seconds on the shot clock again. Marr with a last-second shot, saved by Morocco, and Boston will transition. 20 seconds left in this first quarter. Once again, Atlanta bumping up against a shot clock violation as that one goes wide out of the stick of Reese.
I don't think they're playing terrible offense, Ryan. I think the Cannons are playing great team defense. Morocco's getting to see the ball really, really easily. They're not getting high-quality looks on the interior.
O'Hara in tight had a chance. And the ground ball taken by Eddie Buhal. He will just send it out and bring us to the end of quarter number 1. So Boston, with the first 4 goals of this first quarter, they've built themselves a 5-2 lead at the end of 1 here in Quincy, Mass. You got to look at the Powerade standings around Major League Lacrosse. These Boston Cannons, they've lost 2 of their last 3, but still in second place in the league. Just a game behind Denver and Atlanta trying to get back above that 500 mark after they've lost a couple in a row. Top 4 will make it into the postseason, which they announced this week will take place in Denver in what I'm sure will be a terrific atmosphere out in the Mile High City.
Oh yeah, you can't beat that setting out there in Denver. Such a great place to play, great place to view the game.
Tremendous fan following there.
Sports crazy town, much like Boston.
Here is Boston to open things up in the second quarter off the face-off win. Sands will get it set up for O'Hara. Goal line extended left. Lobs it back up top for Kyle Jackson. Little give and go. Didn't work as Cockerton couldn't get it back to Jackson on the mark. Instead, it's Liam Burns to lead the attack here for Atlanta. Now he'll give it up. Brendan Sunday. Sunday forced back. 4 goals, 3 assists in that game last week for Sunday. Another one of the all-stars for this Blaze team as a rookie. As Morocco comes up with a save on him there.
Well, Morocco made that look easy. That ball was moving pretty good there out of Sunday's stick. But Morocco is a good, clean look. And most shots outside of 10, 12 yards, he's got a good opportunity to save it.
Boston getting personnel ready as Rogers and Jackson trade the ball. Already used half the shot clock as they get set up here. Williams to Rogers. And Jackson to Challen Rogers. 4-time All-American at Stony Brook was Rogers. Sands to Rogers again. 14 to shoot. Jackson. Stutter step. Nice move. Lost the ball. Boy, he deked Camizio out of his shoes, but didn't have anything to show for it.
That stayed in his stick. That was a pretty good look for him.
Here's a shot and a goal by Matt Witcher as he skips one through Morocco. Witcher with his 3rd goal of the year, and Atlanta is back within 2. So we go back and we'll start with the turnover at the other end.
Hey, Ryan, check out that shake and bake. I mean, that's just such great footwork. Scoring the goal is the easy part there. And unfortunately for the Cannons, this ends up just being a really easy look. Just a step down. You see Leahy a little frustrated there, can't quite get to it in time. That transition happens so fast in this game. Great job by Witcher to be opportunistic as a short stick defensive midfielder. Get his.
Witcher was actually drafted by the Boston Cannons last year, found his way to Atlanta this season. Boston gets possession here off of the faceoff, and Upgren deals it over for Cockerton. 5 goals for Boston, 5 different scorers. Solomon trying to get right to the crease, and a flag flies as he goes down.
Fans, the second quarter is powered by Citizens Bank.
So Liam Burns, the guilty party there. So second man up of the day for Boston as you get a look at the effort.
Getting up around the neck there. Now, Ryan, that might fall into the category of a good penalty. Right? That's a pretty good look on the doorstep there, and if they can kill this 30 seconds, it ends up being the smartest play given that situation.
Boston scored on their first man-up advantage in the first quarter. They went 3 for 5 against the Blaze last Saturday. Williams over the shoulder to Rogers, over to Jackson, back to Williams, lost the ball. Seeing a lot of guys just kind of taking their eye off it. Concentration has been tough today, I think.
Are we going to call it the heat factor yet? I don't know.
Could be. A little sweat in the eyes, maybe?
These guys are usually money in the bank.
So Atlanta will kill this off here. So Boston now 1 for 2 on the man up. And Atlanta with a chance to get back within 1 here as we tick toward 11.5 to go in this second quarter. Stotts matched up by Pugel. Flips it over his shoulder into some empty space. First man to it, Mazzone, and got it in front. And the shot by Cole rattles off the ads behind the net. .16 to shoot. Morocco made the save that time, and Mazzone backing things up. Fresh shot clock for the Blaze. He'll start all the way back out toward midfield here for Colton Jackson. Jackson trying to get around Edwards. Cole over to Stotts. Stotts behind the back, and Morocco scoops up the save.
Stotts can be so crafty around the cage. All that box experience. He's given some issues on that corner. We saw in the first quarter there, Ryan. Drawn a lot of attention.
Second time we've heard a ping today. This time off the stick of Zach Goodrich, who got one past Madelon, but off the iron. Atlanta will take over possession here with just under 10 minutes to play in the second quarter.
Watching these team offenses kind of quiet down a little bit here. They're super active early on in the game.
Little Dylan Marr. He had 2 2-pointers last week in that comeback in the fourth quarter for Atlanta to get them back in it. They were down 17-10. They scored 4 goals worth 6 points in the last, was it about 5 minutes of that game? 7-11. Boston coming forward with Edwards. Sands to O'Hara. In tight, scores. Second of the day for Connor O'Hara. And Boston extends their lead out to 6-3. O'Hara out of Bucknell. Just driving right to the net. Puts it home. And Boston's doubling up the Blaze. Get a look at Will Sands of the Boston Cannons. He's got a goal already today, but his job mostly is to set things up like this last goal.
Yeah, well, this is great transition the other way for the Cannons. And Sands with that vision, he's looking through at the back door and getting the defenders to kind of freeze and just giving O'Hara that extra step underneath. And O'Hara not afraid to take a little physical punishment to get the glory.
Connor O'Hara netting that one for his second of the day, his 20th goal in 8 games this year. Had a hat trick last week against the Blaze, added an assist as well in that one. Atlanta's going to get possession here. Down 6-3. Just under 9 minutes to play in the first half. Palasek gave off for Colton Jackson. Back to Cole. Shane Jackson now. Chased by Leary. Backs off. Gave to Stotts. Stotts gets a screen. Flips it over to Colton Jackson. Shoots and scores. Just under the stick of Morocco. And Atlanta is back within 2 once again.
With some nifty two-man game play here out of Stotts and Jackson. No stranger to this game, and that just shows you the respect that Stotts draws off of a pick. Reese has to really stay with his man there. He can't be the guy to slide upfield. That's going to be an automatic look. Jackson, really good job just grabbing the ball, getting out of his stick quickly before Morocco can really set his feet.
So for Colton Jackson, the rookie out of Denver, his second of the season. Boston led it 4-0 just past the midway point of the first quarter, and 2 down is as close as Atlanta's been able to get since then. Camizio gave to Cole. Now Mazzone to Palasek, and back to Mazzone. Shadowed by Jama. Gives in behind Brendan Sunday. Sunday had it knocked out of his stick by Hooper. Now got it to Stotts, and they scored just under the crossbar. That shot by Stotts over the shoulder of Morocco, and Atlanta is back within 1.
The Atlanta goal scored by number
83 has been involved in almost every offensive play here for the Blaze. And on this one, again, just getting that separation. Not a real pick there, just a little bit of confusion between defenders. Leahy not quite sure if he was going to pick him up there. Couldn't quite close that gap. And Stotts is laser accurate.
Looked like Morocco was expecting low shot.
He might have been thinking behind the back shot for all we know.
Have seen a little razzle-dazzle, at least attempted razzle-dazzle today. So face-off violation by Woodall, and Boston with possession just past the midway point of the second quarter. And a 1-goal game now. Sands off the pick by Upgren. Brings it all the way around. Now takes the shot, and that will skim wide of Madelon, but backed up by Upgren. He's got it to restart play. Just about half the shot clock gone. Upgren working against Witcher. Got it to Sands, and he scores. Well, we just talked about Sands and his ability to set up plays. That's his second goal of the day.
This is a great job by Upgren, keeping his head up as he dodges. He's getting some chin music there from his defender. Doesn't bother him. Still keeping his eyes up and finding his buddy, number 22, in the back door. That's the Sands finishing ability that we know so well. You know he wanted that ball back in his stick as quickly as possible after that miss a few minutes ago.
So Will Sands racking up the points here in this first half. And a violation by Boston, so free ball to Atlanta.
I think the Cans are playing some great team ball. You're seeing them work their midfield lines. They're working it through 2 midfield lines, not quite evenly, but a lot more than a lot of other teams in this league that just kind of run their ones as much as possible.
Marr floated it to the back of the net. Stotts getting worked over by Pugel. Ball came out off the ground. Got it over to Jackson. Shane Jackson shot never made it to the net. Goodrich comes away with it, and the Cannons get possession.
And that's that team defense that we were seeing that was so good for the Cannons in the first quarter. Every Atlanta Blaze player is getting a piece taken out of them, even on these passes, the great exit checks, and a poke or a lift, and it's really disruptive to a team offense when the entire team is doing that to you on the defensive end.
Zed Williams setting up along the left wing here. Williams off the screen, flips a pass to Jackson, and Kyle Jackson missed it high.
Well, that was a pretty play off of that two-man look inside.
Sands, you try it on the far side, just takes the shot himself, and Madelon with the save. Sands has it back. Fresh shot clock for the Cannons. Rogers to Kyle Jackson again. Somebody blew a shoe as that ball goes wide. We got a shoe down just behind the goal line on the near side. Official's going to give us our timeout here or no? Guess not.
Equipment timeout, just to get her off there.
'Cause it wasn't a full stoppage.
They'll let Atlanta sub there.
Sands will play it behind the net for Upgren. Upgren takes the shot, and Madelon took it right off the chest protector, covers it up, and now sends the outlet for Liam Burns with some speed. Sunday will get it set up on that left side. Camizio driving right to the side of the crease, dives and scores. Officials taking a look at each other. They'll call it a goal, and Atlanta is back within one. So the Blaze not going away here in the first half. What a play. 7-6. Boston leads at 4:10 to go in the second. Boston with a 7-6 lead here with 4:10 to go in the second. Alongside Malcolm Chase, I'm Ryan Johnston. We were just talking during the break, Malcolm, about how this is still just a one-goal game. It doesn't feel like that after what we've seen through most of the first half.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, like you said, it's a game of runs, and Atlanta's no stranger to chasing Boston down in this situation.
So we get a look at this last setup for Atlanta.
Yeah, and I think the little plays like this is where Atlanta's really been able to capitalize. So a little bit better. I mean, I think the Cannons have had the plays of their own, but Atlanta's coming down and executing. The Cannons had 3 or 4 really good goal-scoring opportunities where the ball simply went out of their stick or they shot it wide, quite a bit wide. I'm sure some of these guys would love to have that ball back, but really now at this stage, it's just about making those plays going forward.
Alex Woodall able to win that face-off cleanly. Brought it back and gave it to his goaltender, Madelon, and now they'll move it forward with Palasek. Chance to tie it here for the Blaze.
Let's not discount how important that face-off can become down the stretch in a hot game like this where you're basically playing make-it-take-it lacrosse with a guy like Woodall.
Brendan Sunday going to carry that one all the way to the doorstep, then floated it behind. Back over for Shane Jackson, and he hits the pipe. Jackson settling behind the net. Fresh shot clock here. Gets a screen. Gives it up top for Cole, and he scores just inside the right post. And Atlanta has tied it with 3:11 to go here in the second quarter.
Well, Jackson had the hot stick and that offensive possession there. We saw nearly had one of his own. And that's just being really nifty here with the look away. Love that pass. Cole stepping out. There's a lot of heat.
24th
55.
of the season for Brian Cole, the All-Star. In his first season with Atlanta, well-traveled, 2 years in Ohio, a year in Florida, and now sliding up the coast a bit to join the Blaze this season. They've got a heck of a crew. You mentioned, I think, earlier about Stotts and his indoor game. Stotts, Cole, and Shane Jackson, all those guys, 20-plus goals already this year. They play together in indoor lacrosse in Atlanta as well.
Yeah, that indoor-outdoor game, you're seeing most of the top players in the world have had some formal box experience now at this stage of the game. It's just kind of expected if you're going to play at the highest level.
Leo Storos knocked down, able to get that ball to Jackson, though. And Atlanta bidding for the lead as the shot by Sunday goes wide.
You can see the Cannons defense not happy about getting tied up there, throwing some big, mean checks. Almost giving up the back door there. They got to be a little careful, but they're getting back to that physical play we saw so early in the game.
Bugle shadowing Stats. Now Leary took over. Ball came for Colton Jackson. to Shane Jackson, and around to that far side for Stotts again. Stotts trying to surprise Morocco. Looks like it might have caught the outside of the net, and Morocco chases it down to get possession for Boston.
He nearly snuck that through. That's a nothing play for him. Made that look very easy.
I'm just trying to catch him off that post a little bit, right? 2 minutes to go in this first half. 7-7 our score here just outside of Boston on a sweltering day. Nate Solomon gave it up to Cockerton. Now Cal Dirth. Solomon with a low shot, and Madelon came up with a save, forcing that just wide of the post. So with 90 seconds left in the first half. Ball sent out to midfield for Camisio. They'll get the offense set up here with 1:15 left.
This would be a big momentum shift for a goal-ahead goal for the Blaze here.
Cole waiting for Palasek as he was coming on. Palasek gave it back to him. Stotts. Checked by Pugel. Trying to run a backdoor for Jackson. Morocco sniffed it out.
It's a good thing he did. Jackson was looking really open on the back door there.
Pugel with a long clear for Edwards. Shot clock is off here as Boston sets up the attack. Cockerton. Goal line extended right. Handed off for Kyle Jackson. Zed Williams coming on here for Boston on the near side. Jackson to challenge Rogers. His shot caught the iron.
We got a great look at that. Lots of time in Rome. Cannons want to make sure they have the last shot of this quarter.
I believe that's 4 posts combined in this game already. Williams, final 7 of the half. Gotta hurry. Williams coming to the crease, tried a diving play and ended up in the crease. And that's going to bring us to the half. So Boston jumping out to a 4-0 lead